There is definitely something going on where they are now completely separate from each other. I'm not even sure if Harry will appear in a single episode of when part two drops. But there seems to be, as I said, something that is. I think they're both hinting that they've broken up, or at least Meghan is. There just seems to be an undertone to it that these two, as I said, they don't seem to be a team anymore.
Her business might be in trouble, but Meghan Markle has still decided to sport more than £237,000 worth of jewellery alongside her crisp white shirt to cook that bizarre pasta recipe for one, as Link Loring posted. Wearing $320,000 worth of jewellery while you cook pasta in a rented mansion is definitely relatable. Keep going, Meghan. And of course, where's Harry? That's what everyone wants to know. But these two at war over their individual projects. Joined now by royal YouTube sensation, according to Taz. Tash.
Hiya, Dan.
Great to see you. What was going on with the fact that she was wearing all of this jewelry? I mean, as the Daily Mail reported, while most home chefs will remove their gems before getting stuck in, Meghan decided to cook up a storm in her diamonds, gold Cartier jewelry, and her weighty engagement ring. On one hand, the former senior royal, who wore a crisp white shirt to cook a Mediterranean dish, sported Princess Diana's Cartier watch worth £17,800. That was on top of her 18-carat gold Cartier Love bracelet, which retails at £7,000. The bracelet's screw motif symbolises eternal love. Well, she certainly doesn't have that. Plus, the Jennifer Meyer mini tennis bracelet, £2,370. Is this really relatable, Tash?
Oh, Dan, honestly, I mean, I wear all my jewels all the time. I think with Meghan, she does live in Diana's tank watch and that tennis bracelet and the Cartier Love bracelet, which has always puzzled me because that was a gift from her first husband, Trevor Ingleston. It signifies chastity. And because it's based on the old chastity belt, it has to be screwed on and off. And the fact that she's still wearing this all these years later, married to Harry, cooking dinner for one, great to be picking up on that as well. Yeah, of course. I mean, you have got basic hygiene standards. I mean, if you're cooking for lots of people and stuff, I mean, it's different to when you're cooking for yourself. But Meghan, even when we saw her on her show cooking, her rings, even her friends, she's even had the people helping her cook, and they're all wearing their jewelry. And I think that's pretty gross. I mean, I learned that in home economics at school when I was 11 years old. You take off your jewelry when you're cooking. As I said, this might be slightly different for she's cooking for herself, but at least she wasn't cooking a red pasta sauce, which she did do on With Love, Meghan. And that, damn, stressed me out so much in a big white billowing shirt. Meghan does have to show off how she has got lots of expensive jewels. And it is that kind of expression I see a lot of people using where they say about new money. But yes, I mean, each to their own, but I think they will have to get a crowbar to get Diana's jewelry off of her.
I know, it'll be interesting who wins that in the divorce. Now, Tash, there is certainly tension going on here, though, because Meghan has been coming under increasing criticism for refusing to publicly support Prince Harry at all in the Centre Bali mess. And of course, he is just refusing to have anything to do with trying to help her get as ever off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that salt and pepper are no longer moving together. The
God,
two
no.
palm trees seem like that they've gone in opposite directions, don't they? Um, I mean, Harry not getting involved with as ever, that could be Meghan. She thinks that she is the star after all. She thought that she was the star the moment she became his girlfriend and then gradually tore away at his confidence. And then he just gave her the microphone in the end. So that might be her. I'd imagine Netflix want Harry more involved with the show because they know Harry is the only reason anybody watches anything that she does or reads anything that she talks about. It's because of him and, more importantly, his connections to the royal family. But for her not supporting him, I mean, Harry's really been going through it. And I don't know if they're playing games. We know they like to cause speculation because they want people to talk about their relationship all the time. And then they pop up again, don't they? Looking more in love than ever before or having a nice smoochy picture. But I think there does seem to be something going on that seems to be a very, very big professional split, as it were. I mean, Harry didn't even feature in any of her birthday posts, her photographs. It was all very much Meghan on her own. And now you've got Meghan making a dinner for one. It's almost like she's hinting and she wants the world to know that perhaps it goes a bit further than just a professional split.
Yeah, indeed. Especially given that As Ever is in deep trouble.
Mm.
According to Rob Shooter this week, the brand running out of cash, these are his words, Tash, drowning in debt, facing lawsuits from unpaid vendors. He quotes an insider describing it as a disaster with no leadership, no direction, and no money. He says they blew millions on PR without securing supply chains. It's business 101, and they skipped it. He also says that unless she secures a last-minute lifeline, the brand could fold within months. This isn't just rocky, one insider says, it's already sinking. And in reality, we know, Tash, that just a bit like David Beckham in the early years of Victoria's fashion brand, it is going to be Harry who has to end up bankrolling this utter commercial disaster. Big news, Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may.
Yes, I mean he is the only reason why they have everything that they have. I mean, just because of his family, really, but also after they declared Megxit, it is very much the deals are for Harry. That's why Spotify was reportedly so upset that Harry only featured in one Christmas episode, and I think he had a quick walk-on part where he giggled in the background when Serena was on. So I think everybody is aware, Ted Sarandos, the Spotify executives, Harry is the big fish they want to catch. And I think Meghan just comes in secondary. It's like they almost have to put up with her to be able to get their hands on him. But again, I mean, there is definitely something going on where they are now completely separate from each other. I'm not even sure if Harry will appear in a single episode of when part 2 drops. But there seems to be, as I said, something that is I think they're both hinting that they've broken up, or at least Meghan is. There just seems to be an undertone to it that these two, as I said, they don't seem to be a team anymore.
No, there's big trouble. There's big trouble, and I think there's a huge amount of tension going on. What's going to be very interesting for me, Tash, is when we see With Love Meghan next week. Does Netflix really care about this brand? And I don't think they do. Because if they did really care about this brand, they would actually use the episodes of the shows to push her products and to potentially try and sell her products. Now, I don't see that happening. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but of course, all of the episodes were filmed before any of the As Ever products were even available, had even been imagined.
Yes, that's very true. I mean, the whole thing has been chaotic. It was originally American Riviera Orchard, and then this got pushed through, I think, at the final hour. She obviously had a backup, and it was other social media users that had found the trademark, and then Meghan had to do the video cats out of the bag. Everything does seem chaotic, and there does seem to be some truth to the stories that As Ever is definitely struggling. I did read, I think it was even an Archwell spokesperson, not Archwell, but somebody, well, they always say a source, don't they? And it was to do with Meghan is actually changing suppliers for her teas. Once it got found out that she was using one of the other suppliers that basically package white label goods, don't they? They just stick whoever's label on it and ship it out. She was reportedly changing. So I do believe that Meghan never really secured her supply chain, because I don't think any of the projects that Meghan starts, she intends to finish. She wants people to take care of everything for her, but then she reaps all of the benefits, all of the rounds of applause, the awards. She wants to turn up for the magazines and the red carpet events to say, oh, look, she's wonderful, she's amazing, she's an amazing founder. But despite what she says on the podcast, I don't think Meghan follows through with anything. This, to me, from start to finish, has just been a rushed mess from the moment she did that video to clash with Prince William's speech at the Diana Awards. There has been no consistency with American Riviera Orchard, or now you have As Ever. And like you said, Netflix are not promoting the products. And you think if they were so confident that this show and their investment in Meghan's As Ever line, they would have talked about perhaps doing a season 3. They do announce before shows have even finished season 2, don't they? When they know it's going to be popular, they commit to say, oh, hey, this is definitely going to be in the works. You know, they've signed this. They didn't. All they've said is we are going to unfortunately be stuck with a holiday Christmas special, which I'm sure, much like myself, Dan, I'm sure you cannot wait for.
That no one asked for. That no one asked for. Because if there's one person who doesn't in any way suggest a Christmas type of vibe, a celebratory vibe, a family vibe, it's Ms. Meghan Markle, who's fallen out with anyone who was ever close to her, with anyone who she used to spend Christmas with. I wouldn't even be surprised if Doria doesn't turn up this year. She seems so sick of it all.
Yep, she seems to have disappeared. I mean, she featured a few times, didn't she, in little Instagram posts. But yeah, you don't see much of Doria anymore. But then I suppose Meghan's never really liked sharing the spotlight. And I think her mother was getting a bit more attention than her, because it was her mother, Doria, that was actually photographed with the Kardashians, with Kris Jenner and Kim Kardashian. Meghan wasn't photographed with them. I mean, the Kardashians didn't even tag her in that cheesy fruit basket post that she did recently. She couldn't even afford for the Kardashians to promote her produce, which again is funny. And it also shows that I think it's not just Netflix that aren't interested in her products. I don't think the market she's going for, which is going to be celebrities posting her stuff, I don't think she's got the money to have that sort of PR. And the fact that Chloe did actually post the picture, but nothing else to it, tells me that no one really has a lot of faith in Meghan's produce or her products for As Ever.
But first, we've partnered with Gundry MD to share this information with you. Would you believe me if I told you inside your pantry right now is one of the healthiest foods on the planet? Yep, it's true. Not some weird, trendy superfood. Spoiler alert, it's olive oil. You're probably used to cooking with it, but there are countless ways to use olive oil to help yourself look and feel younger. For example, olive oil is a natural way to help you achieve a more youthful appearance. Besides helping you look younger on the outside, it's a fantastic tool for your insides as well. According to Dr. Stephen Gundry, a famous cardiothoracic surgeon, nutrition expert, and health advocate, you should get as much high-quality olive oil into your daily routine as possible, whether it's taking a shot of it daily or keeping a bottle of it in your bathroom medicine cabinet. But what kind of olive oil is best for your health? Well, any olive oil can give you some benefits, but if you're looking to get the best results, it matters a lot which one you pick. The olive oil industry is huge. You can tell by the number of olive oil brands you see at the grocery store, and you can bet they're not all made with the consumer in mind. And many brands may even cut corners one way or another to increase profits. When Dr. Gundry came to this realization, he was appalled. But some olive oils are so powerful, it may only take a few tablespoons a week to see these incredible health benefits. So how can you tell between an olive oil that can be a health booster and which one isn't up to par? In an effort to answer that important question, Dr. Gundry has decided to take a stand and release his personal research and findings. The video has gone viral since its release, and it's important you see it so you can start benefiting immediately. You can watch the video right now by going to getolive1.com/outspoken or by clicking the link in the description box below. So that's getolive1.com/outspoken, or just click on the link in the description box below. People who have taken his advice have shared their results with him, saying the olive oil they bought after learning his simple rules has helped change their lives. So make sure you go to getolive1.com/outspoken or click on the link in the description box below this video. But now, back to the show. It was absolutely the bare minimum that Kardashians could have done The
Oh,
utter
yeah.
bare minimum. It was like, it was that whole feeling of like, oh, someone who you don't like that much, but
Yeah.
you sort of want to keep on side, has sent you something that you don't like that much, but you sort of think, well, if I just acknowledge that I received this and I don't actually have to say anything,
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there to the world and it can be taken anyway. There was not even any type of Kardashian endorsement. And of course, Meghan immediately posted it. She made her own annotation. But I
Oh.
totally agree. I don't think this was the Kardashians saying we back this project. By the way, the Royal Grift, I just had to play you this, Tash. I don't know if you saw it, but they've used, the joy of AI to put together what they think Meghan Markle's Christmas special on Netflix would look like. Let's have a look at this, Tash. Let's see if we agree. So here's the holiday season. Ah, yes, Harry outside on the doorstep. A brand new kind of holiday. They say, okay, oh, Meghan with the knife, be very afraid. Oh, here's the voodoo dolls. The William and Catherine voodoo dolls. How good is this?
So
And
creepy.
yeah. Is that meant to be, or is that the children? The
Oh, I
fake
don't
children,
know.
maybe. I thought initially it was it was a Harry, it was William and Catherine, but I thought this was just so classic, wasn't it? Very, very funny because this is the reality for her. Christmas is about one person, Tash.
It's very true. It is very true. I mean, like you said, this is I said before on one
Mimi's
of my videos,
copycat Christmas.
she just yeah. She just yeah. Roast chicken. She's featured the roast chicken, of course.
Oh yeah, the roast chicken that wasn't made for the
She's
engagement
unbelievable.
because there's all of the stories about that. Home Alone
Very
5.
clever. It
Very,
is very
very
clever,
clever.
but it's also terrifying at the same time. So
Yeah, well done to the Royal Griff for that. I thought that was very, very funny. Tash, this week, this publicity stunt, this
Mm.
Prince Harry, Prince Philip publicity stunt got you utterly infuriated.
It did. It's anything to do with the veterans and when Harry uses people. I mean, this was such an incredible day in history, commemorative day. I mean, the 80th anniversary of VJ Day, and Harry just finds a way to make it about him. It wasn't even that he's quite clearly done a stunt to overshadow the king and queen, which he clearly did, despite saying that that's not his intentions. Oh, that was exactly your intentions. But it's it's the fact that Harry, even on these days, he will make the headlines about him. And I just think it just shows his self centered nature. The same as when he did it all those years ago when the Queen Elizabeth II, said, "You cannot lay a wreath. Wreaths are not personal." And that was at the cenotaph. So Harry kicked up a stink. He went running to the media. We had stories about how Harry was being cut off by even his grandmother. She cruelly denied his request, knowing the fact that none of those wreaths are personal, that the royal family lay. And then he's done it here I think it's just again a middle finger to his father and, of course, Queen Camilla.
Oh, of course it was. And Tash, can we just, because one of the things that I've got to be honest about on this show is the workings behind these things. And everyone knows this was a direct link from Team Harry and Meghan to the royal correspondent of GB News, who is a completely vile little twit called Cameron Walker. And what people need to know, Tash, because remember, I worked at GB News for a very long period, is this little guy is BFFs with Omid Scobie. And so
No.
this is all part of the new push by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's UK PR team. We saw them part of that meeting with Tobin Andre outside Buckingham Palace. And it's like, don't treat us for fools. If Harry had wanted this letter to be private, it would have stayed private. And what they do, Tash, is they get friends, the UK friends, to leak immediately. We've seen this with Charlotte Griffiths. We've now seen it with Cameron Walker. There has been a big push behind the scenes at GB News for a whole load of very warped corporate reasons to try and get much closer to Harry and Meghan, just like we're seeing with the Daily Mail. And so you can't trust this guy's reporting. He's team Harry and Meghan.
It was the fact that it was an exclusive. The thing is, this was laid on Friday. Harry had got, I'm presuming, a paid member of staff to do this. They said friends, but I find that highly unbelievable, to lay it after the king and queen had left. And the story wasn't picked up. I think Harry thought it would be picked up. And the fact that it took until Monday for somebody to even notice or to care about reporting, it's only because, as you saw with the GB reporting, it was an exclusive. I think that that was someone in Team Montecito who then put in the phone call because it had gone either largely unnoticed or people didn't care enough. And this is, I think, something that Harry is really struggling with. People no longer associate him with the royal family. They see him more now as very similar to his wife. He's become a celebrity. He's lost that royal shine. People do not like to associate him to the royal family because he's burnt all of his bridges there and tried to burn the monarchy to the ground. And I think perhaps people did see it, but just no one actually cared enough to even comment on it, let alone report about it. So a phone call was clearly put in to one of their friends, as you call them, Dan.
Exactly. They're friends who just happen to be on the payroll and have been speaking to Charlotte Griffiths every week for the past 8 months. And we know there are a few people working on behalf of Harry and Meghan. They haven't hidden this. Alex Rayner is one.
Yeah.
And he's someone who has lots of dealings with the media. So there absolutely is an attempt to get the MSM, the regime media, back on side in this country. And to some extent, it is working. However, Tash, the problem is Harry's empire is collapsing around him. So Bali, he's out. It's finished for him. He can try and come up with a rival, but I don't think that's going to work. And so Dr. Sophie Chandoka, I think, is a far more credible figure than he is. Then you come to African Parks, and Tash, it is still astonishing to me. I mean, I will give credit to the Mail on Sunday, who did very good work on this, but it is still astonishing to me that the mainstream media have not realised the extent of this story. So I give credit to Newsweek this week, because I'll always give credit where it's due. I think they've been terribly in the tank for Harry and Meghan over the past few months, but this story was brave and very important. Prince Harry urged to quit charity where abuse allegations were upheld. The story quotes this man, Jonathan Mazowa, who is the communications director at Survivor International, telling Newsweek, "We think that Prince Harry and anyone involved in African parks should either commit the organisation to a completely new way of doing business or step down." So this story isn't going away, Tash. I think it's going to be our job in the independent media to keep a spotlight on this, because eventually I think this becomes a massive scandal for Harry, and deservedly so, because remember, he still hasn't said a word. He's the president.
No. He's actually been, I think he stepped down last year as president. He's still on the board of directors, though. He's still got a very, very prominent role. And we saw when he went to New York last year, he was still promoting them. He was photographed on stage. And I can't get my head around it. I cannot get my head around that Harry would continue to link his name and to promote them for the atrocities that they have been committing, not just against the Baka people, but it's not just in the Congo. They have found cases where anywhere they've got the Rangers working for this organization, they have been treating the indigenous people absolutely horrifically, committing crimes against humanity. And Harry hasn't stepped down, yet you saw him quit Centre Bali because Dr. Sophie Chanduka stood up for herself. If he loved that organisation as much as he did, how is it that Harry, whilst crying about his life's work was stolen from Centre Bali, he didn't bother seeing those children for 6 years. But he's kicked how many stories every day have we had when that scandal broke of Harry trying to be a victim? But you've got real victims here. You are talking about the Baka people of the Congo. I mean, the story broke my heart to see the atrocities being committed out there. And Harry still promotes them. And I honestly, truly find that shocking.
And then we had this report from Paula Frolick of News Nation this week, Tash. We can take a look at it, suggesting, and I know Angela Levin has been on this story for a long time as well, that things are getting really bad behind the scenes at the Invictus Games as well. Watch this.
People are really starting to feel like they're kind of being used for good PR. You know, they don't really see him. They don't understand what the projects are doing right now. And they're saying, you know what? Once or twice a year, he and Meghan, or Prince Harry, flies in alone and swoops in to big, these are the games, and get really great PR. And they're kind of annoyed. So other papers have reported that in the last 2 years, over 2,000 members of the Invictus Games have quit because they're very upset about feeling kind of used by the couple for, again, good PR. Mm-hmm. And it's really it's traumatizing. You know, Harry has said multiple times he just wants to dedicate his life to the charities. This year it has not gone well. You have Senta Bali, the charity he co-founded with Princeso and in Lesotho, and that, as we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, kind of went downhill. He had a fight with the chairwoman. It became public, and he quit the charity along with a bunch of board members. And just last week, the UK Charity Commission kind of blamed both sides, both Harry and the charity chairwoman, Sophie Chandaka, for bringing this fight public. Now, they did clear Harry of bullying. However, that's one charity. The next charity is Africa Parks. He's on the board of Africa Parks. He loves Africa Parks. And, you know, last month it came out that Africa Parks employees in the Congo and Central African Republic had been raping locals. So this is not a good look. And then, of course, there's Archwell, his own charity, which I exclusively broke the news that Archwell had not researched the people that they were giving money to properly. And they had given over $50,000 to a woman who really is anti-Israel and, you know, some say is anti-Semitic. So there's been a lot of problems of him wanting to dedicate his life to charity, but having some issues.
So Invictus in big trouble too, Tash.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. I mean, she's completely right. When I think of Prince William, say Earthshot Prize or his Homewards projects, you have every 3 months, every couple of months, you have big meetings that are well publicized. You have fundraisers. You have all sorts of things going on. Yes, the Earthshot Prize has the award show once a year. Homewards is slightly different, I guess. But if we focus on the Earthshot Prize here, he's always doing stuff to promote it. He's always doing things that are released into the newspapers. He's doing shows. He's working on those projects to make sure there is constant attention on them. And if for any charity or organization to be a success, you need the public to be aware of it. You need to see good things that they're doing. And I think it's incredibly sad, and she is spot on, that Harry and Meghan do no promotion, no fundraising for the Invictus Games. Meghan's happy to swan around with her celebrity connections when it suits. When was the last time she got any of them to open up their checkbooks to go towards the veterans? Now, I know in the USA, lots of people are not interested in the Invictus Games because they have the Warrior Games, which is the blueprint for the Invictus Games. And a lot of Americans that I've spoken to feel that their attention should always remain on their own veterans. That's completely fair enough. But for Harry not to do any sort of fundraising, any events outside of him and Meghan turning up, which they turn into their own personal PR platform. We saw it recently, didn't we? Where yet again, everybody had been talking that rumors of divorce were getting louder. Meghan, I think there were about 3 or 4 different times throughout the Invictus where she's given him a big old smooch on the stage. And they use the veterans, as well as obviously Meghan. It's a complete and utter catwalk show where I know that she gives the details of what she's wearing to the media for them to print, because we saw a press release that got released a couple of years ago where it was stating that Meghan tells people what she's wearing. So she uses the veterans. And I just think that's very sad. And that's certainly not what the games should be about. We just don't see enough promoting the veterans, the families, or more importantly, their stories. That's what people want to see. That's what people want to hear. They don't want to hear about Meghan giving another anecdote about how she kissed the children goodnight before she got on her next private jet. Nobody cares.
Very well put. Very well put, Tash. And of course, if you do want the stories that you're simply not going to get from the Royal Rota, then please do sign up to my Substack, www.outspoken.live. Paid monthly members get first access to our uncancelled Royal After Show every single weekday, Monday to Friday, live or on demand, whichever you prefer. But I can guarantee you, no advertising whatsoever. www.outspoken.live. Substack is a free speech platform. It protects me from big tech cancellation, and you're part of a community. You can message me direct, so I would love you to be part of it. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.